So I've watched that footage about 400 times now, and it still hasn't sunken in, not fully anyway, how lucky I am to walk away with all that without a single scratch. And I posted that video about 2 weeks or even longer after I've got back from that spearfishing trip. I asked a heap of experts, shark experts, about why that shark behaved the way it did, and I didn't get any conclusive answers, so I thought I'd put it to the spearfishing community. Hopefully some experienced divers would share some light on why that shark behaved the way it did. And I didn't expect it to go viral. It wasn't intended for the wider community. And the reaction that I got going viral and some of the intense comments and reactions that were online and stuff like that sort of blew me away a bit. But there was a lot of questions because the video was quite short. There was hardly information I put with it because it was intended for my original purpose. So I'm going to try and answer some of those questions now and put it in my own words rather than the mass media's, putting their sensationalised spin on it like the bottom feeders they are. So I'll walk you through the slow motion footage first. I'll just show you the whole charge again. It's when I originally posted it, it happens pretty quick, so you don't really get a good understanding. But just be warned, it's a little bit more brutal, but it'll give you a bit better insight into exactly what happened. So every year I go spearfishing on the North Queensland coast, on the east coast of Australia, and with a heap of mates, and we go fishing about 10 or 50 kilometres from shore in quite a remote place. We go spearfishing for fish to eat, and we don't go spearfishing for sharks. We're not out there for sharks. And on this particular trip, we're out there on the second day, and on this reef, on the Great Barrier Reef, it slopes from about 2 to about 30 or 40 metres in these channels, and I was about 50 metres away from the group of 3 divers I was diving with, and I just swimming along, and it had been 10 minutes before I'd shot a fish, and that fish had ripped off. There wasn't any blood in the water, there weren't any sharks around. I was just cruising along, and I breathed up for about 2 to 3 minutes here, and I did a dive, and I got down to about 5 metres, and I seen this shark on the edge of the channel, and I was just cruising about 20 metres down. He didn't see me until right about this point now. Now it's not uncommon for sharks to come at you and suss you out. Maybe they size you up and see if you're an easy meal. They just want to know what you are. A lot of reef sharks like these ones here, white tip reef sharks, black tip reef sharks, they'll come close to you when they're swimming by just to check you out. If you've shot a fish or there's a bit of blood in the water immediately, the sharks will come around. They'll be more active feeding, they'll be a little bit more aggressive, and they'll come closer. But once they've sussed you out and they know you're not food, they'll go away. So at that point, when the shark seen me, it turned immediately towards me and started swimming. And I didn't think that was uncommon for the reasons I've just mentioned. I thought it was going to get up to me, maybe size me up a bit. I was going to poke it on the nose, and I was going to go on its way. It wasn't until about 5 to 6 metres out that you can see here, it just fully charged. And I've freeze framed it here, and you can see as the spear touches the shark, the mouth of the shark's open. This is filmed in 60 frames per second, so without a doubt now I can honestly say that shark was going to take a bite out of something, where it was going to be me or the spear gun. It definitely was attacking. And just a word of note, those fish that are swimming around it, they're not baby sharks, they're remoras. They're like scavenger fish. So and one of the luckiest things that happened is not just me seeing the shark and being ready for the shark when it was coming up, is you can see the spear here has actually gone through the front bit of the gum. And that spear has gone through the back of the head and exited up the top here. And if that spear didn't take the brunt of the force, with a gun like this is the same gun I used, it would have gone down the whole mouth of the shark, the barrel and the spear, and that shark's mouth would have come, and I'm pretty certain it would have gone over my hand. You can see how close it gets in the footage here. And at this stage, more of my adrenaline just went through the roof. Got a big surge of adrenaline, just that typical fright or flight mode. Just wanted to do everything I could to survive. So I held on to the gun as best I could, and I wanted to keep a little bit of distance between me and the shark. So I don't actually shoot the gun at any stage. When the shark bit down on the gun, that's when the rubbers came loose and all the blood that was expelled from its mouth, I think, was just from the bleeding when it impaled itself on the spear. And once I knew I lost that gun, the first thing I wanted to do was get to the surface and get rid of this belt reel, because it was attached to the gun. I didn't know if that shark had the actual gun in its mouth or had the spear in through its head, so I didn't know if it was going to spit the gun or it was going to take off down to the deep and drag me with it. So I went up to the top of the surface and I got the belt reel off as quick as I could. So when I did get to the surface of the water, my arm was a little bit tangled in the belt reel line. I managed to get it off, wasn't paying any attention to the shark below me, finally got the belt reel off, and then I had a good look down. I could see the shark was struggling a bit, so I thought the spear must have gone through its head. It wasn't in good shape, and I thought there's probably a little chance the shark's going to come back and attack me now with a gun in its mouth. So I sort of held there and I thought in a minute, and all that adrenaline that charges through you, your mind's just going 100 million mile an hour, and I thought, I don't want to lose my gear. It's on the second day, it's going to cost me money. You know, I should do this, should do that. And then at the end of it, I was like, well, it's only gear, so I just didn't really want to risk it. It's a long way from shore, and you know, if I got hurt, we're pretty much on our own. There's no emergency services out there, so if I got a good cut, that probably would have been the enemy. So I let it go, and this footage here was the last I seen of the shark. So after watching all my gear and the shark drift down to the bottom of the channel, swam back over to the guys. It was about a 40-50 metre swim. Stood up on this bommie, and I tried to document the whole experience, and I got halfway through the conversation, completely forgot about it, and you can still make out a little bit of the conversation. Tried to clean it up as best I could.
My belt reel went through, the spear's not coming out. Fuck! Oh, no doubt about it. No! Come up to me, I jammed the gun in his mouth, went through him, his head. What the fuck? Fuck!
So after that, we got out of the water, got in the boat, and went to a different spot. And it's only the second day of the trip. We dived the rest of the day, and we dived the rest of the days we're on that trip. And I haven't stopped diving yet since I've got back here, and I don't intend to. It's definitely in the back of my mind. It's definitely had an effect on me, but yeah, I'm definitely not going to give it up at this stage. Now, I copped a lot of slack for posting this video on my actions in it, which I thought were definitely warranted as self-defense. There was a lot of intense emotions that I copped. Some of these ones on the YouTube comments were, I will find you, I will kill you, fucking piece of shit, sad the shark, don't kill you fucking whore. I hope your mum gets attacked by a shark. I hope she becomes a paraplegic. A lot of intense emotions there, and I can definitely understand where that empathy comes from, because I'm a passionate spearfisherman and I love spearfishing. It's my passion. I've got a great deal of love and respect for everything in the ocean, all animals. And being part of the spearfishing community, I've always found the same for quite a number of years, that the whole spearfishing community loves and respects everything. You know, we care for the community. And even things that scare us like sharks, we don't want to see a waste of life. Like, we only go there to spearfish to eat. And most of the time, it's just to enjoy the environment. Like, out of that 6 days that I spent out there spearfishing, I shot 6 fish. Most of the time I just enjoy around getting footage and just enjoying the whole experience. Now, it's hard to take these comments seriously when you have so many empathetic feelings for one animal with a shark, and so many hateful and vengeful feelings towards another animal, and in this case it's me. It's hypocritical. Well, that's how I feel anyway. And if you really seen that footage and I didn't defend myself and that shark took an arm and a leg and I died, I guarantee, and you're some sort of psychopath, you'd feel very different about that footage. And you just imagine if it was your brother or your father, yeah, you definitely wouldn't say those sort of comments. So another comment I got was that I shouldn't have been there in the first place, that I don't belong in the water, it's the shark's home and I deserve to die, I deserve to get attacked. Well, I'm a part of this planet, as are all other humans and animals, and we share all the environment between us. And just because that shark lives and breathes underwater all the time, I mean, a dolphin doesn't breathe underwater, and a crocodile doesn't live in the water all the time, and they've got as much right to be there as we do. And I was out there shooting fish to eat, and it was just unfortunate that shark was going to attack me, and one of us was going to come off second best, and I'm glad it was him. And I try to do everything I can when I go fishing out and there to minimise the interaction with sharks, but in this particular case, I really don't know what else I could have done. So yeah, definitely not remorseful in that respect. As for the attack itself, I found that there was a lot of stories come in that said bull sharks are very aggressive. They are very aggressive by nature. There's a lot of stories about them coming in when there's fish around or fish on your line, giving you a little bit of bumps. In this particular case, there wasn't even fish or dead fish in the water to agitate that shark into attack like that. And because it didn't come and size me up, I don't think it would commit to an attack and risk injury unless it was territorial and wanted me out of its territory. So pretty confident in that, which is still quite shit, because all that irrational fear you've got when you go spearfishing, I've got it, that a shark's going to come out of the deep blue and just with its mouth open and attack you. Sort of what happened here, which kind of sucks, but it's very rare. There was only 2 identical stories that people messaged me in saying that this exact same thing happened. There was no fish in the water. The shark just come out of the blue, attacked them, and they are quite an aggressive shark, and it's just a risk to take, I guess, but it's a very small risk, and I think it's quite rare, so it's not going to keep me out of the water, and I really hope it doesn't keep you out of the water too. So there's nothing I'm really going to change about the way I dive. There's nothing that I really can see that myself doing that can manage that situation better and avoid that sort of situation. So maybe dive closer with dive buddies. A few people said I should wear a different type of wetsuit, that the one I was wearing was attracting sharks, and other people saying it was deterring sharks. This is the one they're talking about, this particular camouflage here. It's supposed to confuse them, but I didn't find anything conclusive online, no tests, independent tests or anything like that, so I'm not really going to comment on that. I did contact a heap of shark deterrent systems, all the more popular ones, and ask them specifically if it had made a difference in that particular situation, and they wouldn't comment. They just referred me to their websites. It definitely has had an effect on me, and it's always going to be in the back of my mind, and it has been ever since it got in the water, but I think over time it'll just fade away, hopefully anyway. So don't deter yourselves from going in the water because you think a shark's going to come out of the deep blue like that. It was really rare for something like that to happen. They're not mindless creatures that just attack anything they see with their mouths open, come from 40 metres down at 60k an hour. Don't let it stop you getting in the water from having fun. I know it's not going to let it stop me. Big shout out to all the people that sent in their stories and shared all their stories and all the support. Big thanks. And all the people that ripped in, to all the people that ripped off my footage as their own, like Collab Creators and Alex Collins and all the other people on Facebook and stuff like that. It was great to see people, ripping into those, and also people tearing into the mass media for doing their sensationalised spin and showing what real slime and bottom feeders they are. It was great to see you guys tear a new one. Apart from that, any questions that I've missed, just put them below and I answer them as best I can, but apart from that, dive safe.